we don't want to take shots because we having such a legendary interview right now. But like with the youth, I feel like unless I don't see what's going on, that's what they miss. You know what I'm saying? It's more like making music for a moment. Everybody want to get a bag. It ain't like that level of, you know, respect for the art of like what you're gonna say. You know, we fucking Rakim babies, KRS babies, we fucking LL Cool J babies. So we had no choice but to just admire what everybody was doing and bring what they bring to the table. You had to step your shit up. Like I felt like I was really in school when them, like I discovered Big Pun, but Big Pun taught me. So I used to sit there with him and he'd be disrespecting me like, yeah. For him being my little brother, he'd be like, you're limited. You give up easy. Go all the way. 16 means 16. You got 12 hot ones, but you want to give up on the last 4. Like, this nigga, I was at Warden school with this guy. And it was like, and he was sharpening me up. So when he passed.
So Pun was around you before you got on?
No. I was around 2 albums before Pun. Okay. I met Pun the last day I was handing in my second album. I put him on my album.
Okay.
As soon as I heard him, I was like, oh, no. You met him right at that point. I called you. We did Firewater. Me, you, Be Real. And then something that's so crazy is, like I always tell a story, I did a show with Wu-Tang and they got 500 and I got 500 differences. They had 13 dudes. So I didn't know. I really honestly ain't understand how the math was going to math.
Calculate.
Right? And so, and then Ray and me become tight out of all Wu-Tang and he's beyond the hottest guy in the fucking globe. And I could call him at any time and he show up in 10 minutes to the studio. What's up, Joe? So I'm like, yo, this is my artist, Big Pun.
Wow.
And he just jumped on the joint. And that was the first joint that we ever put out with Pun.
Yeah, because you introduced me to him. You know, he was like, you know, I was coming up there to see you because you said, yo, you wanted me to come through. And I remember that day clear because my little brother, you know what I mean, he had graduated and I had bought him an SC300, the SC400, you know, back then.
That was that day.
And I told him, I said, yo, you got to come to the Bronx. Because, you know what I mean? I didn't know if he really know how to fully drive yet. So it's like when he came, right? It's like all of us, like when he walked through the door, we all was like, we like in here and shit. When he walked through, everybody was like, oh, he made it. He made it. But anyway, make a long story short, you said, yo, I want to introduce you to somebody. So I said, what's up? What you want to do? So I see this other Puerto Rican big nigga come out and shit. So he was like, yo, he rhymes. So, you know, I was like, yo, he's like, yo, let me spit for you. He said, yo, you can spit? Yeah, let me hear it. That nigga said, Pun just said, boom, bow, boom, bing, bing, bong. I looked at Joe. I said, that's one of them.
Yeah, he said, you got one.
I said, that's one of them. Exactly. I remember that shit clear as day. And it's like, he was like, yo, you mind if he get on this Firewater record? I was like, put him on. Say, yo. And then ever since then, I think that's when your loyalty level for me, it grew at an all-time high.
His first video, we threw the suits on.
Yeah.
Sky blue shit, he pull up. This man never let me down his whole life. Never let me down. I got to salute him for that. That's another level of, you know, Jadakiss, I'm 20 years waiting on a verse, but it's okay. It's my business partner.
But that ain't true, because we all got down on the...
No, that ain't true. I'm fucking with him. I got to pick on this guy.
Lifestyle.
Quiet, like
John Blaze.
Yeah.
Shall we go on?
Now, the guard, Brooklyn, your Brooklyn days, then your Staten Island days. I was out there early with y'all, you know what I'm saying? So, what was it for y'all? They had a mega group out of Staten Island too.
Force MD.
Force MD. Woo! Force MDs. You know how legendary?
Wow.
No, that's like, they maybe they would have kept going and made more hits. It would have been like a new addition. Like,
they came level. Before Boys the Men though, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. If you don't,
yeah.
Yo, Force MDs at the house.
Came a long time before Boys the Men.
You're right.
They was doing shit.
I guess that everybody was probably trying to compare them as at one point. You know what I'm saying?
I think you had the...
I say they paved the way.
I don't know.
That's the yo.
Wasn't he from Staten Island? The doom. I don't know.
UMCs.
UMCs was fucking Staten Island.
Right.
Yo, you gotta stop. Yo, don't do that. Yo, Jada, I'm a journalist. Yo, Shaheem Reed is in the building. Journalists of all journalists. We got so much royalty here. But what would, Staten Island?
Ray came from Brooklyn first, man. No,
I know that.
So he gotta say that first.
I mean,
Tell us the Brooklyn aspect of it.
Yeah, I mean, I was a kid, man. My mom's, we come from Brownsville. My mom's got us out of there I was around 9 years old. Never knew my dad, never had a relationship with him. It's like when she had me, she found out that he was into drugs and, back in the 70s, I guess, he was doing a lot of gangster shit and getting into shit. And then when she found out he was on drugs, she just said, yo, you got the boat. My mom's was like a tough-skinned lady, so she felt like at the end of the day, like, yo, I can't have you around my kid. I don't even want to fuck with you because she just felt like he was getting into too much shit. It got to the point where she was like, because his mother lived in East New York, lived in the projects, Atlantic Towers, East New York Avenue, rather, right over in that area right there. Because I'm from Ocean Hill. So between Ocean Hill, you right across Atlantic Avenue, turn into East New York. So anyway, never had a relationship with him. They robbed our crib one time. We wasn't there.
In Brooklyn?
We're school in Brooklyn, and that just made my moms be like, yo, you know what? Let's get the fuck out of here, you know what I mean? And she had sisters that lived in Staten Island already. So they told her, they said, yo, come to Staten Island. It's a little bit more safer. It's
better over here.
And they was helping her too because she needed some help at the time because she had us young. So she was still going to work. She's working at the Twin Towers and all that. So she moved us to the island. So I left BK when I was around 8.
And you kept that, it was over there in East New York. I told a story one time on the pod. It's where my aunt used to live on this hill, Summit Hill or Miller Hill. My aunt, my godmother, I used to spend summers over there. And then I went to the projects and the DJ was playing that, baby, we can do it. Take your time, do it right. We can do it, baby. Yo, let me tell you something. That's one of the first, pause on a higher level. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but that's one of the first songs that ever stimulated my brain in a different way. Like, I was a kid, but I knew when I heard it, I said, this is a masterpiece. Like, I heard the music and everything. I would, just a fan. I just was like, yo, this is fucking incredible. This shit was dancing on my brain. Like, yo, this is crazy. He played it like 3-4 times. Staten Island, y'all threw that motherfucker on y'all back on the legendariest of forms. And y'all actually made that like a bridge. You personally. You, Mev, Ghost, Genius, y'all made that shit like the bridge of our era.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I'm thinking about superhero. One night I come out the club. I keep it real with you. I came out the club in the Bronx. It was like 5, 6 in the morning. And I keep it all the way tall with you if you really want to know. KRS-One had a show in the Bronx. And they pulled up. The whole entire Juice crew pulled up. And when we came outside, it was like 6 in the morning. He had already performed like 2 o'clock. They was all outside. They had Jeeps, Benzes, Dapper Dan shit, this things. They was all outside. Like, this is the first time I ever seen them. Big Daddy Kane, Wide Body Kid, Benz, this. They was all outside like this. I don't know what they was coming for. They just was like, fuck it. We're going to the Bronx and we're going, you know what I'm saying? But that's what I mean by superheroes.
Right.
That's how it was, or that's how it is when we see you guys. When we see the Wu-Tang, we look at y'all, Ghostface just came up here. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Shout out to
like,
Starks.
Tony Tone.
That's your brother, but
That's right.
he like a superhero.
Dangerous
So when
superhero.
I see him, I just feel like, oh my God, it's like fucking Ghostface royalty. That's how I feel. When I see him, I'm like, yo, this shit, is it really Ghost on the fucking couch? Same thing with you.